Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar, Standardization of Project Integration with MTP. Thank you for joining us. Let's see today's speakers. This is me on the left. My name is Anka Udovic. I'm Regional Marketing Manager in EXOR ETI, Slovenia, and I will be hosting the webinar. Our next speaker is Dalibor Bobic, Zenon Sales Engineer from EXOR ETI, Belgrade. We will also have Dejan Saršin, Zenon Sales Engineer from EXOR ETI, Slovenia. And we have a special guest joining us today, Bernhard Korten, Life Science and Process Industry Manager from COPA-DATA company. Let's see what's on the agenda today. First, we will hear a little bit about EXOR ETI and COPA-DATA company profiles by Dalibor Bobic. He will continue to talk about Zenon and references. Later on, we will find out what is MTP. And then Saršin will also show us insight into Zenon MTP tools. After him, our guest speaker, Bernhard Korten, will present us the use case, modularization of processes in Merck. And as last part, we will have Q&A session. So you can send all of your questions to Q&A or chat box, and we will answer them during the webinar or in the Q&A session. This webinar is also being recorded, and you will receive the recording to your email address in the following days. Just one last thing, when the webinar will finish, a survey will pop out in your browser, so please be as kind as to fill it out. We would like to hear your feedback. So I suggest we continue with our first part. I would like to invite Dalibor Bobic, who will talk about EXOR ETI and COPA-DATA companies and about Zenon and references. Hi, Dalibor.
Yeah, hi, Anka. Thank you for this introduction. Okay, greetings from my side too, and let's start with company profiles. For those who are first time with us, just to mention that we are EXOR ETI, we are representatives and distributors of different hardware and software solutions from world-leading manufacturers. So we have 10 partners in this, starting of course with COPA-DATA and all others. We are covering 8 countries in Southeastern Europe with our 3 offices in Ljubljana, Zagreb and Belgrade. And we have more than 500 customers in the region. Speaking about COPA-DATA, the business started in 1987, so more than 35 years now of experience. COPA-DATA is focusing on software development of the Zenon software platform, and together with other offices and distributors and partners like we are doing all together software sales, technical support, professional services, all kinds of trainings and certifications. Interesting thing is that there are more than 200,000 installations of Zenon system worldwide. Let's talk a little bit about Zenon software platform in general. There are so many benefits that Zenon can provide the end customer and our system integrators. Let's mention just few of them, like scalability. So important thing is that you can start your project really small, including probably just one machine or one small part of the factory, and scale it up to the whole factory or different systems inside. Maybe just to mention flexibility and openness. So you are fully flexible to include other systems, to exchange data between the systems, between different projects, and openness together with more than 300 integrated drivers and communication protocols. You can connect any system inside your project or make multiple projects. Interdisciplinary nature is, of course, one of the key benefits, which shows the 4 key industries that we are covering, starting with energy and infrastructure, with food and beverage and pharmaceutical industry. Of course, there is also automotive. Let's start with just few key references which are somehow connected to today's topic of modularization. Harro Hilfinger is long-term partner, started with Zenon in 2004. They are covering different projects with touch and multi-touch applications. Setting parameters instead of programming is one of the key benefits for their machines, and platform independence. Mentioned scalability, openness with different drivers, and diversity in communication is also one key points why they are using Zenon in their projects. There is a success story available online, and you can also see a video of this project. Let's focus on more local reference stories. Our system integrator Artechnic did a retrofit of a tablet coater machine in the Hemopharm factory in Serbia. Hemopharm is part of Stada Group, and this project is done fully according to GAMP5 and PEA standards and requirements. And the main functionality is doing production with this machine, of course, and catching comprehensive reports showing trends. And interesting thing is really customized batch control with recipe group manager. This is integrated module in Zenon. Communication is done with backup PLC. There is also one interesting project, energy data management in Carlsberg, Srbija, which integrates more than 100 metering points from energy meters, water, CO2, steam, and air. And this project is fully supporting Carlsberg concept of zero carbon footprint, zero wastewater. They have many benefits from this project, and they get a lot of savings from the very beginning of the project. And the key point is that they are including more and more parts of the factory inside this project. Efficiency monitoring system is implemented in several breweries in our region, and its ongoing project spreading to other breweries. It's really scalable. It shows the full potential of scalability in the project, and the main wish of the end customer is to get fully detailed reports from every production line, from every packaging and filling line inside the brewery, to get the same report from all breweries. And they are using, of course, Zenon Analyzer or Report Engine, as we have. Last but not the least is Incom Leone. They are producing 130 tons of ice cream daily. So you can imagine how big this production is. With 20 production lines, they're using Zenon supervised license in redundant mode. So they're using 2 servers, and with 30 Smart Server Pro clients. So those are web clients to fully visualize all processes. They're using Zenon for optimization of production and, of course, detection of errors, which is probably the main benefit from every Zenon installation. So these are just brief references. I'm looking forward to our key reference today at the end. This is all from my side. I'm giving word back to Anka.
Thank you, Dalibor, for this introduction. Let's move on to our next part. I would like to invite our next speaker, Dan Srshin, who will tell us what is MTP module type package and show us insights into Zenon MTP tools. Hi, Dan. Welcome.
Hi, everybody again. Thanks, Anka. So I will try to explain first advantages of modularization compared to conventional production, then something about MTP standard, and finally we'll take a look why Zenon is the most appropriate tool for creating your MTP projects. So first, if we look at general advantages of modularization, we have basically possibility of faster upscaling from a laboratory setting to production setting when you have modules compared to conventional production lines. Then we have easier integration of modules into existing control systems. So if we have something already set up, and then we additionally want to integrate new machines into our production line, it's easier if we have this concept of modularization set up from the beginning. Then we have a possibility of having smaller batches with more customizable products. That means that we can have a more cost-effective production and decreased investment risk with associated market entry. So basically, we have we can have a faster response to changes in demand. So if a particular product is it turns out to be in lower demand, we can scale the production down. If it's a bigger demand for the product, we can upscale easily, in a more easier way, our modular type production. And this also means that we have a reduced maintenance and storage costs because we can ship the goods, the products in a faster way. In the end, that means 50% faster time to market, 40% lower production costs, and up to 80% of increased flexibility. So now let's talk about MTP in general. So this standard is originated out of a problem that needed solution of integrating machines from different manufacturers in a standardized way. So if we have this idea, this concept compared to a printer driver, we see that we can compare it to services like scan, print, and so on, have any kind of manufacturer of our printer, and we can easily integrate it into our PC and just start with using our printer. So basically, MTP does the same concept. We have inside of our MTP file, which is our XML file, but with MTP file, we have integrated, defined our services, our visualization, our data points, and our driver. And then we can integrate this equipment that we have from different manufacturers in a plug and produce way with much faster, in a much faster time with less problems. We'll take a look this in general more later. So if we go now into this zenon layer and zenon MTP tools that help us create our project according to MTP standard, we have a process equipment assembly layer. Basically, from our machine builders, we receive MTP files where we have defined data points, and then we can create historical process data into our project, alarms, audit trail, recipes, user access control. Basically, in our MTP file, we have these things defined, and then with MTP tool we integrate it into our project. So this is still operational technologies layer, and then we go into our process orchestration layer, which is basically a supervisory station, basically our SCADA layer, let's say, and we can integrate these PEA instances into our process orchestration layer. So if we compare this to a production in a particular pharmaceutical company, they already have, let's say, a SCADA system and have 5 different hardware providers, and each of these providers provides equipment with MTP file, and then we integrate it into our process orchestration layer. In here, Zenon MTP tools create our historian, so for archiving, our alarms, our ISA 88 batch control functions, visualization, and defined protocol, which is OPC-UA. And then if we have to share this this data with higher systems, with MES or ERP, we can use either Zenon service grid or use our integrated possibilities with process gateways, API, through our Zenon API if we want to exchange some information with MES systems, or our integrated interface for SAP, which enables us two-way communication. So now let's look at in deeper this Zenon MTP Suite, which manages our MTP project. So we have in our MTP Suite an MTP editor, which creates and edits MTP files. So if you are a machine builder, you can create your MTP files. We have a simultaneous in our Zenon MTP tool instant feedback if our MTP file is being created according to this MTP standard. We have a possibility of simultaneous checks, and also on our website we can check if from any kind of third-party provider, if his MTP file is written according to standard, and if it can then be integrated into process orchestration layer according to this standard. We can manage our PEA instances. Basically, this is our this is done based on our MTP templates. We'll see that later in our live presentation. Process orchestration layer is a layer which connects our package units. Basically, all these instances, all these machines are integrated into our process orchestration layer in this MTP tool. We have a PEA Software Suite. Basically, also our machine builders can create and visualize their HMI according to and set up communication and recipes and so on with MTP tools, and then prepare this for usage in a live production. And MTP Gateway, if we have some legacy equipment that needs to be integrated, but it does not exchange data according to OPC-UA, then we, with Zenon MTP Gateway, we can use all these enabled drivers that we have in our Zenon software to collect data according to any kind of these protocols, and then transfer data through this gateway according to OPC-UA to, let's say, our process orchestration layer. So basically, MTP Suite is FDA Part 11 compliant HMI. So we have our control system, PLC engine, over 300 communication protocols to collect the data from the PLC. We have an integrated OPC-UA server, ISO 88 compliant batch control, MTP editor for creation of MTP files, and smart object process library. So that was for machine builders. So this, I'll not go too much into detail about this MTP Gateway. Basically, we need to somehow translate this protocol to OPC-UA, and we can do it with MTP Gateway. And so if we have some legacy equipment, but we still want to realize our project according to MTP, we can use this MTP Gateway. And process orchestration layer, we have a full graphical editor, so we see in advance how our visualization will be seen in our service engine. We have drag and drop instances, which we'll see in a live demo. And layout HMI 1-to-1. But basically, let's look at the live demo. I think it will be more interesting and more representative. So these are a few examples of process orchestration layer. And just finally, with this final slide, I want to make the point that it was not too hard for COPA-DATA to set up these MTP tools so that we can integrate and create projects according to MTP, because this philosophy of parameterization and smart objects and all these templates and symbols are the core idea of zenon software. So we are basically with MTP files, when we are integrating MTP files, we are basically translating these MTP files into our zenon internal language with smart object templates, so that the user doesn't have to think about this. It just creates a project which can then be edited additionally. But this was the main idea from the beginning with Zenon, this modularity. So all these currently available sheets of this standard have been used for creating these MTP tools. We started in 2015, and we have 60 polls already realized. So this is already a tool that you can start using for your projects according to MTP standard. So now let's look at our our live presentation. So here we have an empty service engine layout, a screen. So we have, just to prove that nothing inside, that we haven't created any project. Now I'll close this. Okay, so now I have here empty demo project, just so we can see we don't have any smart object templates. We don't have archives, alarms. We don't have any screens. Basically, we have an empty project only with those predefined screens for alarms and so on. But basically, we have to integrate now our MTP file. Okay, so let's open our MTP Studio. So we have to connect now to our database that has all these files inside. Okay, and now we will integrate one MTP file, and then we will create a smart object template out of this MTP file. So we already have one inside, but let's put, so this is a machine, right? A stirrer, which has, we see according to this standard. Let's say somebody else created this MTP file with some third-party provider. We have data assemblies, servers, services defined, everything is inside this MTP file. And now we will create this smart object template, which is for our internal language, let's say. Okay. So basically we can, this MTP file could have been created also with this Zenon MTP tools. Okay, so now let's go to task selection and go to process orchestration. Now we will create a poll project. I'll just leave the names and let's make this bigger. And now we will create instances of these MTP templates. We'll just drag and drop it. Our stirrer and our buffer. Okay. So this is now just data links. This is not a visual preview. I mean, this is not a preview of visualization. So we will create data links. So it's impossible to connect incompatible ports. So you don't have to worry about that. Okay. And now we have with here our visual preview. So this is how it will be looking, how this two modules will be seen in our service engine. We have to define our OPCOA ID. Okay, and also for the buffer. Okay. Okay, we'll save it. And now we will create our process orchestration layer or project. Okay. So now this will take about a minute. In the meantime, I don't have a physical machines here in my office. So this is a simulation which is done in our zenon logic. This is a soft PLC that will be running in the background. And this soft PLC can be also used in your live project to put some additional process logic. So to change data to manage some process raw values for our analytical systems or for control. So this is like a programming a PLC in our Xenon Logic workbench. And this has been done also for simulating our OPCOA server. Okay, this should be it. Now we can close this MTP Studio. Okay. We will change data, runtime data, service engine data. You can see it here. Okay, and we'll start our project. There we go. So now we will go to batch recipe and immediately import our master recipe. Okay, go back to our overview. Okay, we are now connected to our OPCOA server, and let's just start our production with our batch control. Yes. Let's start. So we check all the services according to standards. Now all settings are on automatic. And start. And now we can see, right? We can see our stirrer, our buffer. So all this was done by MTP tool. We haven't done any of these screens or anything. This is all according to standard and has been created by MTP tool. So we have already started our production, and now this recipe will finish. This is a quick simulation. And then we will create our archives and our reports. And that's it. So as you have seen, we had an empty SCADA, empty project in our service engine. We integrated our MTP file, ours or from third-party manufacturer. We created some instances. We first created some project smart object templates. From smart object templates, we created our instances. We integrated into our poll, created the service engine, or previously known runtime files, and we just started our service engine. So basically, with a few clicks, we created our whole project. So I hope it was fun. I took too much time already, so I will now pass the word back to Anka and to our next speaker, Bernhard Korten from COPA-DATA. Please take over.
Thank you, Dejan. So let's move to the next part of today's webinar. I would like to welcome our guest speaker, Bernhard Korten from COPA-DATA, who will talk about use case modularization of processes in Merck. Welcome, Bernhard.
Thank you, Anka, and thank you, Dejan. So, Dejan, thanks for showing this live demo. I think this is very impressive to see how easy it is to integrate MTP compliant equipment. I have to add one thing here. The one important thing of MTP is that it's not just the communication which is described in the standard, it's also what you can do with a device. So this is also what we see now in the next 10-15 minutes, what Merck has done. So we integrated a steerer and a buffer. The steerer, for instance, can mix. And the mixing is also defined in the MTP and is then automatically creating the phases which you have to use for EXOR 88. So also here, all the phases are prepared and you just can drag and drop it in and create your recipe and start it. Basically, that was what Dejan has prepared already before. Yeah, so how did Merck integrate the lab and mini plant of MTP and what are the benefits? Those are just two questions. I will give you an answer in the next 10 to 15 minutes. Welcome also from my side. My name is Bernhard Korten. Thanks to EXOR ETI for your invitation. Pleasure to be here and to give you some insights about what we did with Merck and modular production, modular technology. I'm working for COPA-DATA since 2008. I started in the tech. I was a support guy, helping our customers in projects. Then I was mainly doing international sales, and now I am driving the life science and process industry at COPA-DATA headquarters. So getting all the requests and demands out of the market and prepare and get our product ready also for future regulatory requirements, I would say, and help our customers. In my spare time, I am working since 20 years as a volunteer medic, so I'm driving the ambulance car. Additionally, we are active at the ISPE and Bioforum working groups around the world, driving Pharma 4.0 and plug and play, of course, also with the MTP technology. Yeah, Merck has announced on their webpage, this is from July 14, that they introduced a modular automation for laboratories. They call it a first for the chemical industry. So let us have a look together what they did and how this works. As if you think on the life science industry, as the product life cycles in the life sciences, they are becoming shorter and shorter, and the Merck, they were looking for a new solution, an easy solution to create and modify their plant configuration and get a fast upscaling from lab to production. And in the end, reduce the time to market up to 50%. So goal is get the products faster on the market. And this is what they did with the MTP technology. If we go back in time a little bit, you see here some, it's just some old lab equipment, I would say. At Merck, they have around 120 fume hoods. And inside of those hoods, they do these experiments and the tests and the laboratory processes. And they have equipment of pumps, stirrers, dosing modules, chillers, valves, and so on. So there's a lot of different equipment. And if you see here on the picture in the past, those tests, they have been carried out on a manual basis every day. And later, they were using conventional lab control systems, but both with the lack in flexibility. So now think on a laboratory, on this environment. I think nowhere else is such much dynamics as in a laboratory. So the flexibility is key here. The tests are rebuilt and carried out every day, and this rebuilding of tests requires a lot of time and costs. So the modularization also was the key and the game changer here for Merck. Goal was also to enable the lab technicians to integrate and automate the required modules themselves without the need of any programming skills. Let us have a quick look about the architecture, what Merck in Darmstadt has integrated in the lab and mini plant. So if you know zenon a little bit, we start in the middle. There is the POL server. POL is the Process Orchestration Layer. This is the server running the project we have seen presented by Dejan. Fully created automatically just by pressing one button. Additionally, of course, you could have a redundant server if required. There is a central database to put your process data, alarm and event data. And then if we go down, we heard already an MTP Gateway. We heard that you also can integrate legacy equipment, because I think this is very important, because there is a lot of equipment. You will not throw it away just because of now there is MTP standard come. You also want to integrate your existing equipment. This is possible via our MTP Gateway. So we help you to transform or make this legacy equipment ready to be connected via the POL, like we have seen it, drag and drop, connect easily your equipment and start the control project. One example is in this layer for equipment, Merck, they have also vacuum pumps. We have shown this also on Achema fair and on the SBS fair, it's also shown. And the only interface this pump has was RS232, serial connection. So we also here used our integrated soft logic, so 61131 engine, to convert this into OPC UA. And now this equipment also is connected via OPC UA. This is the central language defined in MTP, and it's ready to be orchestrated by the lab technician. So you don't need any programming skills. That's easy, right? So what you see here is MTP box 1, box 2, box N. This is where zenon logic comes into the game, and we create the kind of gateway mapping the devices, your legacy devices, into the MTP world. And this is done automatically by us, by zenon, by COPA-DATA. All right, let's move on a little bit. Yeah, this is just a building from the outside, but inside it looks like that. This is such a fume hood where we heard there is 120 of those in this mini plant laboratory environment, and 60 of those are already automated fully with modular technology, in this case with MTP technology and with zenon. We started 2019 with Merck together. We did the first steps, and we look back now to a few years successful collaboration. But initially, they did not think on this MTP. And the more they took a closer look on it, the more they were convinced that this is the right technology to be also future-proof with their modular lab setup. And as said, now is already 60 such POL projects, like we have seen by Dejan, realized for those fume hoods inside of Merck. Let me show you some screenshots. What you have seen in the demo, this was just our template, but you also can use your template, of course. And this is the template used at Merck, where you see a little reactor, and what you see on this screen, everything is created automatically. So in this MTP template file, the layout of the HMI is designed, the communication is designed, the services, procedures, parameters are described. So what you can do with a certain device. So you have the services for EXOR ETI batch, the dashboards, the faceplates for controlling locally every device, for switching the equipment model from automatic to operator or to get this offline. So everything comes automatically just by pressing one button. Here another screenshot for showing an example of a manual equipment control. So you also can control a single element like a valve. Manual services and procedure control services, and services also can be defined on a very granular way. So if you know the equipment, or if the deliverer of this equipment delivers this this module with the services, you also can create your own services, like open just the valve, or a service could be fill this tank. It requires open the valve till the tank is full. So it's more steps. Here, another screenshot, they use the EXOR ETI batch control, which I think this is a key technology also for MTP, and makes life really easier in this way, because the phases, they are already there. We have seen a mixer or a stirrer. Here you have a little reactor, and all the services this reactor could do. So fill in, heat, mix, drain again, cool probably, could be services of such a device. Those services are already available as phases, and you just drag and drop those phases into your recipe designing area, which you see here. This is an example of a PFC recipe, and you can create your master recipe, release it, and then you can execute also control recipes. And this is done everything by the lab technician, and also the daily reconfiguration of the modules without the need of any programming skills. Here, another example of alarm management, which is a standard in zenon, I would say. And as mentioned already, I think zenon is used in a regulated environment since years, machine builders and end users. So this is a fully compliant Part 11, Annex 11, or compliant to data integrity electronic system supporting you in this area. Here, another screenshot of the trending they are using. So what are now the benefits for Merck using modular technology? One clear benefit is the faster time to market. As new generation drugs, they produce less batch sizes, and they require a faster time to market as well, because they are customized to an individual person. So cell and gene therapy, for instance, you have to reduce your time to market dramatically. This is what they also reach with this technology. Faster development times. Of course, we have seen in the demo how fast you are in integrating modules, MTP compliant modules, orchestrate them, connect them together, and start the control project. The flexible system configuration. So especially here in the lab, of course, you need to have a very flexible system. The tests are carried out on everyday basis and changed every day. So this has to be easy, fast upscaling from lab to production. And the lab technicians, they don't need to have any programming skills. They can do it on their own. Yes, and then for us, it's nice to get such feedback like we have it here, that also the zenon poll is one of the first polls. So poll is the process orchestration layer, where you orchestrate your equipment. One of in the market with almost fully comprehensive poll functionality. We are happy to get such feedback. Thank you very much. In short, this is what Merck has done. If you want to have more information, please have a look at our webpage at COPA-DATA. There is the full success story. You can download it as a PDF. Thank you very much. And now I hand over to Anka.
Thank you so much, Bernhard. This was so interesting. So we have come to the last part of today's webinar, Q&A session. You can still send your questions to the Q&A box or to the chat. We have two more questions left. So first one is for Bernhard. Is MTP Gateway an integrated functionality of zenon?
Thank you for this question. It's an interesting question. As mentioned, I think the MTP Gateway is very important, because you also want to include your legacy equipment. So for that reason, we have developed an MTP Gateway functionality, which is included in zenon as well. So the answer is yes, it's included. And during creation of an instance, so just imagine you have, or use a tank as an example. We have a tank, and inside this tank is a mixer. And we have 5 of these tanks, and this is similar tanks. So you have one MTP template, and then you create 5 instances. For every tank, you have an own instance. So for every instance, we need also the communication. So because every tank has an own variable set behind. And during the instance creation, also the logic code will be generated automatically, and you can put this on a controller. You can choose which controller, because the logic can be embedded on a controller as well, on a Linux device, whatever you have. And this device is then transferring or is mapping the local signals to the MTP world signals, and you easily can then connect it and orchestrate it by the use of the process orchestration layer.
Thank you. Our next question is for Diane. Can project created with MTP Studio be edited in Engineering Studio?
Yes. Yes, it can, because if you remember, we first, out of the MTP file, we create MTP template, out of which we create smart object template, and then more instances of these smart objects. So basically, we can edit post festum, let's say, our project in Engineering Studio, add additional design features, basically. So then when we create change runtime files, we have our project in our service engine as we have wanted it.
Thank you. Okay, this is it. We don't have any more questions. If you will have some additional questions, or you will need any information or one-to-one meetings, you can contact us to the email addresses provided on the screen. We will be happy to help you. So this is it for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to all of the speakers, especially our guest speaker, Bernhard Korten. And please don't forget to fill out the survey that will pop out in your browser. We will appreciate it. And see you next time. Have a nice day, everyone.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.